Max? Well, I got 27.55. You're already cutting me. All right, here we go. So honored to be here. That's my hero right there. So I'm pointing at John Maxwell for those of you out in the internet world. I'm so honored to be here. It's an honor to be here for you, brother. So thank you so much. And what do you guys want to do for a half hour? You want to have some fun? Yes? Okay, cool. I say we change our lives the next 27 minutes and 33 seconds. You want to do that? So what I've been asked to talk about, I'm going to talk quickly. I've been asked to talk about persuasion and influence, maxing out your ability to persuade. So I'm going to give you there's two things I've realized in life. One, most people don't remember anything you tell them unless you do this. Facts tell, stories sell. So one of the ways we persuade is we're conscious of something. Okay, so we're going to get right into this here. You are always making people feel something. Did you realize that? So I'm going to ask you a question. What do you make people feel? And are you intentional about it? I didn't figure this out until I was about 30 years old because people would respond to me a particular way. I figured everybody saw me the way I see me. They could see my good intention. They could see the fact that I wanted to help them. But it was wrapped up in this face, which is not the most worn face in the world, right? I learned, Tony Robbins told me one time, he goes, hey man, are you like happy? And I said, I'm very happy. He goes, and you should tell your face once in a while. Right? And I just started to think about it. I never smile. I have all the pictures of me. I'm intense, I'm kind of a bigger dude, I work out, I got a couple tattoos. I was making people feel something I was unaware of. If you're gonna get great at persuasion and influence, you've got to take control and be intentional about what you make people feel. And the more intentional you are about it, the more you can control that, because influence is energy. Your influence is ultimately the energy that you're putting out to people. So I'm conscious, like even in this talk, it's a different energy. I said, how many people, they gave me the number, I said, how many people are on the Zoom? That's bigger and bigger. The energy output required of me is bigger because there's more people I have to energize with the message. Does that make sense to everybody? Say yes. So if you're gonna get great at influence, and I'm pretty good at it, Maxwell's awesome at it, you have to get better at being intentional about the energy you put out and being aware constantly that you're always making people feel something. That's number one. You with me? Say yes. Okay, number two, let me show you something right here, just to make a point, if I can pull my PowerPoint up. That's me looking cheesy by an old Bentley. I don't know why that's still in there. Here we go. What do some of these people have in common? Whether it's myself, I put me next to Oprah just because I thought we'd be a good-looking couple, Steve Jobs, Kris Jenner, Rachel, you could put John up there, Elon Musk. How about Andy Frisella? Any of you that know Andy? I just think it's fun. I just think it's funny that I put him right next to Mother Teresa because he's uttered so many F-bombs in his life and she uttered none, so I just think it's cool that they're next to each other. Mark Zuckerberg, you can look at the group there, okay? The Rock, MLK, one of my other heroes. What do all these people have in common? They're great influencers. They're great persuaders. And the reason they're great persuaders is this. They're evangelical about their cause. I'm clicking here. They're evangelical about their cause. When I was a young man, I read a book called Selling the Dream by a guy named Guy Kawasaki. It's an old book. In this book, he was kind of the guy that helped Apple with Macintosh and promoting it. And basically what he told in the book was that Apple was the greatest company in the world at selling the dream. They were evangelical. He usually actually used that word. Apple was evangelical about their cause and their mission. And I started to take that to heart. If I evangelical about my business, about my cause, about what I do, am I that on fire about it, where I'm a person who seeks to convert others, especially by public preaching, a zealous advocate of a cause? If you go back in history, and you take a look at John Maxwell, for example, he's the ultimate example of an evangelical person with his message and his mission, even based on his background. That's why he's moved so many people. So to the extent that you can get better about being evangelical about your cause and your mission, that when people are around you, it's infectious. They feel that energy. The overriding energy they feel is that you believe so deeply in what you are doing or what you believe in that they can't help but be persuaded. Does that make sense? Say yes. Okay, so here's the crazy thing about being evangelical and also persuasion. You ready? People don't have to believe what you're saying. People do not have to believe what you're saying. See, the great influencers understand this distinction. I will be the first person to say it to you and you will never forget it. I'm going to give you the real keys. You don't have to believe what I'm saying to be persuaded by me. You have to believe I believe what I'm saying. That's a massive difference. So many of you are spending all your time trying to get people to believe what you're saying. Your energy comes across as desperate, as a beggar, as less than, as secondary. And you cannot overwhelm somebody with influence when you're constantly trying to get people to believe what you're saying. But if they believe you believe what you're saying, which is a completely different positioning, different intentionality, now you're somebody of persuasion. Everybody with me on that? Say yes. The greatest proof of that is my beautiful wife. I've known her 45 years. We met when we were in kindergarten. We started dating in high school. I love her, but she's been wrong about 73% of the times we've ever had a fight. She has been wrong. Yet, she has won every single fight we have ever had since I've known this woman. Why is that? I'm going to tell you why. Next level of influence. The more certain person always influences the less certain person when there is rapport. And my wife is always more certain she is right than I am that I'm right in every disagreement we've ever had. And the more days that go by when she ain't so huggy-kissy with me in the middle of these fights, I'm like, forget it. Let me just say it for the 3,000th time. You're right, I'm wrong. Now can you come hug me, please, right? So the more certain person always influences the less certain person because she's always evangelical about that she's right and that I'm wrong. Y'all with me on that? Say yes. I'm getting you to repeat just so I know you're paying attention since it's a brief talk. All right, now, let me give you a couple more things to think about on persuasion. I'm going to tell you a couple stories. What do you sell? So we now know that people don't have to believe what we're saying. The more certain person influences the less certain person. You have to be intentional about your energy, and you're always making people feel something. Then the question becomes, what is it that I sell? Because there's different businesses in here. There's people in the mortgage, the financial business. You could own a dry cleaners. You have a tech-oriented business. You could not be in business at all. You're in the business of being a father. You're in the business of being a mother, right? Maybe you're in the faith-based business. What business are you actually in? Because everyone, Starbucks and Apple, are in the same business, believe it or not. Ford Motor Company is in the exact same business, isn't this not crazy, as Chick-fil-A? But you never know it because the product is different. Your problem in business is that you keep thinking the product you sell or actually what you physically do for somebody is actually the business you're in, and that's why it won't scale, that's why it won't get big. That's why it's average and ordinary. But if you're gonna build something extraordinary, you get this principle right here. You ready? Let me tell you what business you're in. Let me tell you what you sell. You sell happiness. You sell happiness. And to the extent that you can get great at connecting happiness to someone participating with you in your product, service, family, religion, whatever it might be, is to the extent that it'll be huge. The great ones know it's all about the ultimate end message is you will be happier if you do this. You will have more bliss if you do this. Every single human being wants this. One of the great gifts for me is before I got into business, my dad was an alcoholic. He got sober. His first AA meeting, he comes back from the meeting, I was living at home. My business career, where you see me, I've made hundreds of millions of dollars in lots of different businesses. I just left, by the way, an island I just bought. I literally left my island. It's a pretty cool thing, right? I'm running around this island. I go, can you believe this dope right here owns this island? And I own a bunch of other homes. I've just been very blessed. I own it all cash. Scripture says, owe no man nothing, so I kind of take that to heart, right? But how in the world did that happen? Because no matter what business I've been in, whether it's been financial, I have a chip company, I have a chocolate company, I have a medical device company, I'm not in any of those businesses. I'm in the happiness business. When my dad came home from that AA meeting, he goes, I got you a job. My prolific business career started on my mom and dad's couch. After college, unemployed. Actually, I did have a job for a day. I went through 6 months of training to sell Xerox copiers. And then they made me code call that first afternoon where you knock on doors, and I literally just disappeared at lunch. I never came back. They spent 6 months training me, and I'm like, this sales thing is absolutely not for me. And so now I'm living at my mom and dad's. My dad comes home from the AA meeting. My dad's kind of a dude's dude, you know those guys? And he goes, hey, I got you a job. You get your butt over there tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I said, well, what is this job? He's like, you don't get to choose. You're eating out of my fridge. Get your butt down there tomorrow morning. So I show up there, and it changed my life. Because everything in your life happens for you and not to you. Everything. We just don't uncover that for a long time. In hindsight, we always know that's true. So I walk in there, I said, hi, I'm Eddie Milet at 6 a.m. I'm not used to getting up this early. I'm here for the job. They're like, well, what job? Good question. I got no idea. I don't get to choose. I'm eating out of my daddy's fridge. So what's the job? Right? I'm a grown man eating out of my dad's fridge. So they go, well, you need to come back when you know what the job is. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't even know what this place is. She's like, well, obviously you don't know what the job is then. And I didn't know what it was. I get to the door and I go, well, the guy's name's Tim? No, doesn't ring a bell. I go, well, he was at an AA meeting with my dad last night. I go, oh, Drunk Tim, he's Cottage 8. Go down to Cottage 8. And I show up at Cottage 8. This was an orphanage called McKinley Home for Boys. Hundreds of boys that were orphans. My boys were all either molested by their family members, their parents were incarcerated, or their parents were dead. And I walked into Cottage 8, and it literally altered my life. Because before that, I was about me, I was gonna be an athlete, I'm gonna get rich, you know, all those things. Immediately, my life became about these boys. These boys have a certain type of eyes. You come from any abuse at all or dysfunction in your family, you have different eyes. Those eyes are just please love me. Just please believe in me, care about me, help me. I have those eyes. Ironically, my dad's drinking prepared me to be with those boys. Now, I wasn't completely prepared. I'm not a psychologist. I didn't have any kids of my own. But all of a sudden, I was thrown into this environment where I had to take them to school every day. I took them trick-or-treating. I was there on Christmas when they opened up their presents. I was there when the girl wouldn't go to the dance with them. They became like my sons, and to this day, many of them are very close to me in my life. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. I was called to be there. I didn't know it. I was unemployed. I couldn't sell copiers. My dad was an alcoholic. But all of that prepared me to be in that moment. In fact, to this day, I only have 3 or 4 skills I'm pretty good at, and that's the truth, but I've made a lot of money with those skills, and I've helped a lot of people with those skills. Sometimes we discount what our own blessings and gifts are, don't we? Nah, it's not that big of a deal. One of mine is I read people really well, and I connect with people really well very quickly. Very quickly. You want to know why that is? My dad was an alcoholic. When I was 4 years old, I had 3 little sisters and a mom, and I'd have to figure out which dad was coming through that front door. I could tell eventually, when I got to about 6, by the sound of the key in the lock. If it went right in real smooth, Dad might be sober. And then when he'd get in, I'd read his eyes. I'd read how he'd walk. Was his tie still tied? How was his hair? How was his physiology? And I knew immediately at 4 or 5 years old, this was drunk Dad. I'm gonna keep Mom and the girls away from him. He's gonna go have about 8 Beefeaters gins right now, and we stay away. Or it was sober Dad who wanted to come and give everybody hugs and play catch in the backyard. I started to read people at 5 and 6 years old. It's been my gift in business, is to communicate, because I had to talk them out of those states too, and to read people. I use those same gifts with my boys. Remember what my boys wanted? My boys wanted to be loved, cared for, believed in, and helped. You know what I found out 50 years old now? You know what every single human being you meet wants from you when you meet them? People ask me, how do you connect with all these athletes and coach all these well-known entertainers and celebs and all this stuff? Because Sylvester Stallone or John Elway or Omar Ramirez, who was my 9-year-old, all want the same thing. They want someone to love them, care about them. I just got chills. Believe in them, and just help them somehow. And if you get good at that intentionality in your business and in your life, you'll be a better mother, a better father, a better businesswoman, a better businessman, and you'll make a difference in people's lives. Amen? Everybody with me on that? Say yes. Okay? Let's click through this here. I'm going to show you a couple things. I'm going to tell you a story about my son. I'm going to keep it clean. By the way, follow me on social media. That's my whole sales pitch today. Everything I do is free. That's it. That's my program. Follow me on social. It's free. There you go. All right. I'm going to tell you a story. This is my son and I, Max. I got to tell these quickly. I love my son. I was an athlete. My son was not an athlete. And to this day, Max is 19. I talked to him this morning. I don't know whether Max is left or right-handed. I mean, I literally don't know. Nobody knows. He doesn't know. This kid, fork right-handed, pencil left-handed. He has more baseball gloves that are left. This poor kid, you put a left-handed glove on him, he'd get hit in the face. I'd switch it. You get a right-handed glove. We'd bat left-handed, he'd go 0 for 20. Bat right-handed, he'd go 0 for 20. He's so unathletic. I love my boy. He's so unathletic. Any of you dads or moms that have kids in flag football, Max had one job in flag football: block. And there's no blocking allowed. Just stand there. Don't give the boy the ball. He can't run. In fact, he went a whole baseball season without a hit. The last game, he hits like a swinging bunt. And it was so surreal for him. I want you to picture an 8-year-old. It was so surreal that he finally made contact that he was running down to first, literally like this fast. He was like in a dream state, and he got thrown out by about 40 feet. I'm not kidding you. So finally, we settled on golf many years later. I just became that dad. I never wanted to be that dad. You know that dad that wants it too bad for their kid? You know that dad, right? Like, hey, dude, you are 5'6", 260 pounds. Your son has no genetic chance to play in the NBA. Back off a little bit. Let him have some fun out here, right? You know those guys. Like, come on, man. if they're 9 and it's soccer, and your kid is slow as hell already, right? He's not playing professional soccer. Let him have some fun, right? Living your dreams through your kid. So I didn't want to be that dad, so we went and played golf. We moved to the desert. Where we lived, there were all professional golfers and their kid, then me and my kid. So they'd show up to the tournament, perfect clubs, fitted, matching Puma orange and white outfits with shoes. I'd show up, my son has left and right-handed clubs in his bag. I'm in Adidas sweats, tank top, tattoos, jack with like a beer in my hand, like, let's go, right? And I would caddy for my son. It was a tour where you caddy. Why'd we do it? I'm a busy dude, I travel, like, it gives me 5 hours with my boy. So before we started playing on the tour, I said, look, Max, Daddy won't love you more if you win, I won't love you less if you lose. Let's have fun. And we just had a blast. So I caddied for him for 3 years. He lost every tournament. I'm not exaggerating. Last place, 23 shots behind the winner. Didn't care. My son is just like his mother, such a good boy, so excited. He would literally top a drive into a lake. Hey, Daddy, we're having fun. I'm like, yeah, we're having fun, Max. And then the other kid would boom a drive. He was so excited for the other kids. They'd make a birdie, Jacob, great putt. And they're like, dude, you're a little overly excited for me. You're supposed to make these putts. You know, like the sweetest boy. Tournament after tournament. You have fun today, Max? And we had fun. All about the fun, all about the fun, all about the fun. Then something happened. I'm gonna clean it up because John's sitting there. I won't use my actual language, but before this day, my son had never heard me use profanity before. Never heard me before. You seen that picture there. He'd heard his mom, but not me, right? We get to the 9th hole, and our group's behind. Why are we behind? Because Max is playing so bad and so slow. We're 11 shots behind, there's 9 holes to go, and at the turn, kids usually get their lunch. They bring a lunch out, it's usually right there. This time it was about 100 yards away. Well, life changed in this moment. One of the dads turns, he plays on professional golf tour, his son was winning. He goes, hey boys, Max doesn't give a crap about this, he's always out of it. Let him go grab the lunches for you. You guys go to the tee box and hit your shot. Mr. Fun here, right? I said, what did you just say to my son? Didn't ever talk to my son like that. I said, listen to me. You guys go to the tee box. Max, you stay with me for a minute. We'll be right there. I'll get the lunches. I said, Max, come here. This is my precious little boy. I said, come here. Come here. I said, we're going to win tonight. He goes, Daddy, I mean, what about, we're here to have fun. I said, hey, winning is more fun than fun is fun. He goes, I go, winning is more fun than fun is fun. And I'm shaking this poor boy. Daddy, I said, listen, we're going to switch your shirt off. I switched his shirt. I changed the color of his shirt. I'm telling you, we're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win. Okay, Daddy. I said, here's the rules. I pick the club, no practice swings. We're doing this. You hit this 3-wood, you walk your butt over there, you got a great golf swing. It's not about your swing. It's up here, Max. We're playing to win. We're down 11 shots. 9 to go. I don't care. I go get the lunches, switch his deal, and I watch my boy. He's how he walks. This is how Max walked. He goes over, hits that 3-wood right down the pooper, right down the middle. And I kind of watch him put his shoulders back. I got there with the lunch today. Hey, here's your lunch, man. Here's your lunch. Dave. Won't say anything else. Right? Now you're all Googling which pro golfer is named Dave. Right? He's actually one of my dearest friends now, so it's okay. But he wasn't that day. And I said, hey, Max, how'd that feel? He goes, it feels good. We get to the fairway. I said, listen, I never did this before. Now I'm getting specific. We're dialed in. We're focused. Specificity. Precision. We're not playing around. This is a true for business. I said, listen, 8-iron. 100 to 120. I said, you hit an 8-iron 10 feet left of this hole. I've never talked to Max like that before. No practice swings. And I'm touching his shoulder. We're going to win. We're going to win. Okay, Daddy. Okay, Daddy. He gets up. Gets at about 20 feet left of the hole. Max is on in 2. Hey, this ain't so bad. We get up to the green. They putt. They both 3-putt. They bogey. Max has a putt for a birdie. I go, Max, line up the putt. Don't just walk, line up. So Max does this fake thing where he pretends what the putt does. Right, no idea. I have no idea. He's like, Dad, I think it's 2 feet left to right downhill. And I'm like, that sounds good, brother. Knock it in the cup. First time he ever really got focused, really got intentional about performing and winning with specificity. There was no question. He makes the putt for a birdie. He hands me the club. Shoulders go back a little bit. Now he's getting some momentum in his life. Listen to me. This is all about you, not him. He's getting a little momentum in his life. Now he's got a taste. Now he's walking like this a little bit. Now we're down 9 with 8 to go. Next hole's a par 5. He hits driver down the middle. They both lay up. I said, Max, we're hitting 3-wood over this lake. This is where God comes in. You get completely focused. Listen to me. You plant enough seeds. You plant enough seeds. The wind's going to get some. The birds are going to get some. The rain's going to get some. But there's a harvest eventually if you keep planting seeds. So Max gets up there. Takes his 3-wood swing. Poof, it's in the air. It's got to go over a lake. There's a wall. Oh, Jesus, listen. Anything I can do, Lord. I know I've not been a good man all my life. I'm a pretty good man. Just please, Lord, any bargain you want, let this thing hit the green. Right? Hits the wall. Ball starts coming back up in the air. I'm like, lands on the green, rolls to about 5 inches from the cup. Okay? Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Just thank you. He makes the putt for an eagle. They both bogey again. Now we're in business. We get down to the 17th hole. He's 1 back. We get to 18. Now my son is not walking. He's twirling clubs. He's walking like this. Right? He's got some momentum. Let me tell you something. Every speaker you see up here, we're the aftermaths. We're twirling clubs in our life. We're no different than you. We're no different than you. I know exactly what it's like to not eat. I know what exactly like to be broke. I've had water turned off, electric turned off. I've showered in a pool shower before. I've had a car repoed. I've lost a house. I know what it's like to pray. I know what it's like to pray when I went to the ATM that there's $22 in that damn account so it can spit out the 20. I know what it's like to go to the movies with my wife and sneak in the soda cans and go, babe, on 3 we cough. 1, 2, 3, cough. And no one can hear us open the soda cans. Right? I know what all of that's about. So don't you start playing, they got custom suits and, they work out all the time. No. Just like Max, just like you. But you start getting that momentum, it starts looking pretty good. You start touching your dreams, you start believing you belong there. That's what happens. You get in proximity to winning, you start to have a gravitational pull that keeps pulling you and pulling you and pulling you. You don't have to know everything to step into a space. I didn't know everything when I walked into McKinley. I didn't know everything when I walked out on the stage. But you keep walking and stepping in faith into these places. 18th hole. Max hits his ball down the middle. Both the other boys do. I hear the father say, Max is now in 2nd place. I hear the father say to his boy, I won't say his name, don't hit it in the lake. I said, Max, he's fixing to hit it in the damn lake. You never tell someone what not to do. You tell them what to do. He dumps it in the lake. Max is down 1, hits this to the green. This kid holes out. Max has to make a birdie to win, a par to tie, 3-putt he loses. My dumb butt, we walk up to the green, I go, hey, take it easy, this thing's downhill. We get a comeback or we're in a playoff. Right? Max goes, this is the same kid from 9 holes ago. Max goes, Daddy, I'm gonna make it. It makes me emotional now. I watch him walk, both sides, no clue what he's looking at. Gets up. Makes the putt. Yeah! We're both freaking out, jump like we just won the Masters. These guys are looking at us like, this is supposed to be the act like you've been here before. But I literally look at the dad, I go, man, hope that lunch was really good. Hope that was a good lunch, man. So here's what happened. Max won 21 straight tournaments. I don't tell you that to brag about my son. I tell you that if you can get some momentum, you start playing to win, not just playing to play. Like you gotta decide to win. Check this out. Go to the PowerPoint. Just show you this really quick. That's Max's next tournament where he won. That one he shot 64. This is me and Max in Cabo last year. He's grown just a little bit, by the way. Right? This is Max signing his college golf scholarship. He plays the number 1 on his college golf team. He won yesterday. So his entire life changed that day. He went from a dude who we still don't know is left or right-handed, okay? So why am I telling you? It's never too late to change. It's never too late to turn this around. It's a mindset, it's a thinking, it's a series of momentum, it's a decision, it's an energy. It's being conscious of your ability to persuade, and he's turned that around. By the way, since that picture, he went to play college golf, he also lost 80 pounds. because he decided to go get fit. So these same principles applied to changing his body, and he's lost 80 pounds. I tell you that because you are max probably in business right now. You're doing everything you can. You love it. You're studying. You're taking notes. You're paying money to go to events. You got to decide that winning is more fun than fun is fun. And you're going to get some momentum. And you get that momentum, there's nothing that can stop you. One more point I want to make to you. You got to start to understand the power of one more. I've only talked about this once, and I'm going to try to get through it, but it's about my dad. This month, my dad will be a year that my dad passed away. People ask me all the time, who did you go get advice from? You know, all these well-known people you know. One person, my dad. That's my best friend, my father. I'm named after him. I got a grandfather that I'm named after too. My dad's my hero. Why is he my hero? The entire reason I'm in the personal development or change your life space is because I watched my hero do it. My dad was an alcoholic the first 15 years of my life. Pretty bad one. I watched him completely change his life in the last 35 years, live a miraculously great life, help hundreds if not thousands of people get sober themselves. I watched him become a man of tremendous change and influence. Not a rich man, not financially, but my dad, if you measure a man versus a man, I'm nowhere near the man my father was. I watched him literally change his life. There was always a good man in there. There was always a good man, but there was this thing holding him back. You have that thing holding you back. My dad's was drinking. Yours might be your self-esteem, or something happened to you as a kid, or your background, or you don't think you're pretty enough or smart enough. You got this thing. My dad's was booze. Yours might just be a thought, might be an emotion, but it might be one of those things. I remember I'm 15, my dad pulls the car over. My dad had tried to get sober many times. My dad pulls the car over on the way to a Little League game. Never seen my dad cry before this or after it. My dad was a dude. My dad ends up leaning down to me and going, hey, tears in his eyes. He goes, I'm gonna go away for a few weeks. I'm gonna get sober. I said, okay, Daddy, that's great. What would make this different? And he said, your mother's told me I'm gonna lose my family and I have one more chance. I'm gonna do it because your mother deserves the husband that she's worthy of, and you and your sisters deserve a world-class father. I'm gonna do it this time. My dad had one more chance. He made one more decision. You are one decision, one relationship, one meeting, one conversation, one thought, one walking into McKinley Home for Boys, one speaker away from completely changing your life. One. You know how my dad stayed sober, by the way? He did not try to stay sober his entire life. My dad stayed sober one more day at a time. You do things one more day. You think about quitting the business you're in right now, just don't quit for one more day. Maybe you need one more shot at that relationship. You want to know the power of one more? Here's the power of one more. You know what I would give for one more round of golf with my dad? What if you started to live your life like you had one more day? What if that precious daughter of yours, you looked at her like it was one last time you got to talk to her? That beautiful spouse of yours that you're always getting into it with. What if you just had one more night with him? What if you just have one more dance with your sweetheart? One more conversation? You understand the power of one more when it's gone. What I would give, all those times my dad called where it went to voicemail, I'd have grabbed it now. Let me tell you what I watched my dad do. I'm going to share this with you because it's personal. I'll go 1 minute more, maybe 90 seconds. This is me and my dad when I was a little boy. This is me at my wedding with my dad. Pretty good looking dude once he got sober, huh? Right? I show you this, and I asked my mom's permission because I want you to remember this. That's me and my grandfather and my dad. Those are 3 Edward Milettes. A week after that picture was taken, my hero in the middle, Papa, passed away. He landed on the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. He's a stud. He was gone. A week later, my dad moved to his seat and I moved to my dad's. And I remember literally thinking, wow, I'm 1 seat away from Papa's seat now. Like that. Like that. My dad and I were playing golf one day. This day right here. And he was breathing heavy. And he's a dude. So I said, let's go. He goes, yeah. What's wrong with me? 2 weeks later, we found a football-sized tumor in his chest. He had 12 hours of surgery to get that out. Chemo, radiation, proton therapy, chemo, radiation, proton therapy. Over and over and over. This is my dad starting to get sick. You can see it on him, can't you? You see it? I know now I have a limited number of days with him. You have someone you love, you act like you have one more day. This is my dad in the hospital during COVID. I asked the nurse to take this picture because I wasn't allowed to go see him. And they're alone. You could see. He stayed alive one more day for his family, one more chemo, one more radiation, just for his grandchildren, just for his family. He called me the next day after this picture. I'm gonna do it in my voice. My dad would talk like this. My dad had my voice, like this deep voice, but now it was gone. 12 breaths a minute, 20 breaths a minute, sometimes 3 breaths a minute. Come get me. I'm like, Dad, I'm not coming to get you. I gotta do another steroid shot. This call was different. My dad said, listen to me. I have one more day. I have one more day. I want to come home. I don't want to be in my home with your mom and with you and the sisters. Come get me. I have one more day. I've never loved my dad more than that day. He never meant more to me more than that day. I called his doctor. I said, what's the deal? He goes, come get him. This is my dad being wheeled into his living room about 12 hours after you saw that other picture. That woman right there is my mom, watching her husband of 52 years on his one more day. Right there. Right where he wanted to be. I was with my dad holding his hand when he passed away. This is an hour before my dad passed away. Why do I show you that? It's an intimate, personal thing. I want you to be thinking about your life. You will eventually have one more hour. You will eventually have one more day. The people you love will. Maybe there's someone that's passed away that you've loved so much. You need to honor them with your life. I honor them with my life. You honor them with your greatness. You honor them with the risks you take. My dad, after he passed, I was there holding his hand. I was asked to take some of his affairs and put them away. And what I found all over his vanity were these dates with these cards with dates and names on them. I'm gonna tell you this last. I want you to remember this. I want all of these dates on there. You know what all those are? There's hundreds of those index cards. Those are all people. My dad was in an anonymous program, so I never knew this. These are all the people that my dad helped get sober and their sobriety one more day birthday. My dad would text or call every single one of these people every single day, every single month to tell them, you know what he would say when he would call them? Hey, stay sober one more day. Just one more day. Congratulations on your anniversary. One more day, one more day, one more day. It's always one more. You have a long-term vision. My dad wanted to be sober forever, but he did it one day at a time. You make one more phone call, one more rep in the gym, one more I love you to your family, one more effort, one more try, one more decision, one more call, one more email, one more relationship, one more event, one more note you take, and you start stacking those up, you build an incredible life. The hour before my dad died, I watched him on the phone. He couldn't breathe, his phone was ringing. He says, Debbie, who's calling? Mom says, doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. My dad said, who is it? He says, it's Carlos. I watched my dad barely able to breathe. No one gonna know whether he did this. No one's ever gonna count it against him. And I watched him one more time talk someone into staying sober one more day. I tell you all of this about my son and my dad and you and all the things we've covered in these 33 minutes because I want you to take very seriously the power of doing one more call, one more engagement, one more person you help. When you start stacking that up over a week, a year, a month, you get the momentum. My son won that golf tournament to get hitting one more shot, one more ball, one more practice session. You do one more. There's people in your life you need one more conversation with. There's contacts. There's people that need your business. There's people you want to honor. There's people in your ancestry who sacrificed everything for some of you to be here, and you need to honor them and do something great with your life. You were born to do something great with your life. Every single one of you were. The good news is the greatest happiness salesman of all time is this dude named Jesus. He promises this thing called heaven, which is the happiest place in the world. Isn't that cool? And this has nothing to do with religion. I'm just telling you this. He made you in his image and likeness. He did not make you to be average and ordinary. You were born to do something great with your life. And when you die, I hope you get into heaven. I hope he says, well done, good and faithful servant. But I can tell you what else happens. You get introduced to the woman or the man you could have been. I have this vision. He's going to introduce me. Ed, well done. Let me introduce you to the man you could have been, the memories, the moments, the people you could have helped, the emotions, the unbelievable things in your life. That's the guy I made you to be. And when I get there, I'm going to go, man, I've been chasing you. And I want that version of me to go, man, I've been watching and you caught me. Welcome to heaven. That's heaven to me as you catch that person you're capable of becoming. My dad spent the first 40 years of his life not being that person. So it's never too late. And then he made changes and started down a different road. I know when my dad got there, they were identical twins. Heaven, when we die, is we meet that woman or man we're capable of, and we've maxed it all out. Hell is you meet her and you're total strangers because you didn't take the risks. You didn't believe in yourself. You didn't get the momentum. You didn't do the one mores. You want to die and you want to go to heaven someday? That's one of the ways you do it. God bless you. Max out. Have a great rest of your meeting.